Hi everybody, it's Amy at Crafty Cat, and I am back for another of my I Saw It in Somerset Studio Magazine craft times. I don't know what to call them. It's just I Saw It in Somerset Studio Magazine. So I thought it would be fun to do these. So I'm going to attempt to do both of these in my own version because I don't have the same images. I have one of the queen, but not this one. So obviously they're just going to be my own, but you know, a nod to hers. And let's see, this is Renee Zarate, I believe is how you say that. So yeah, that's my inspiration. So I'm going to attempt to do both, but that just depends on how long it takes me. Okay, so first to start with, I'm going to do like journal pages, you know, like the front of the page. I mean, you could do it anywhere on the page, but I'm going to do the fronts of them. I just have copy dyed paper, and I have a video on this. I take plain pieces of copy paper, drip the coffee on, let it dry, drip more coffee on, let it dry, drip more coffee on, whatever, until it's, you know, how I like it. That way you don't end up getting all the white covered or gone. So, and it's kind of silly because I'm going to cover most of this, but if it goes into a journal, you're still going to have these other pages, so I'm not that worried about it. And it's fairly easy to make, and that's just what I want to use. So I'm using this handkerchief, and I kind of decided I would just sort of fold it around the journal page like that, so when it gets stitched into the signature, it's going to be kind of like one with it. But I'm sort of thinking it would be fun to not glue it onto the paper behind. So really, I guess in the end, that way, once it's stitched in, this will be like its own page. You'll have another page, if you see what I'm saying. So you will see all that. So there you go, just solved that problem. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, so what I'm going to put on there is a little piece of kind of eyelet lace that's been ripped and torn at that end down there. That's sort of going to be my grounding spot. And then she had the paper doll, which I showed you guys. I got these images on Pinterest. I ended up going with one that was bigger. This is the one I used. You can see that she's seated. Mine isn't going to be seated. So essentially what I did is went in and cut off, you know, her whole skirt. So it was just her upper body. I kept her hands, arms, and so I'm just using that portion of her. So that's something to think about if you look for images. This is another one that would be excellent for this because you could easily just cut off the skirt and keep her hands and everything. In the one in the book here, it looks to me that she almost took off everything except she did keep the hands and the head. But then I'm not sure exactly if she just cut that out. It may be fabric. I think it might be fabric actually. I'm not great with trying to make it look that real as far as it looks like her arms are in the sleeves. So I was like, I think I'll just go with the skirt and leave the top the same. So anyways, that's what I did. I'm not really sure how she did that. So I have basically a little skirt. I have my little girl. I did tuck some lace under there because I thought it would be cute for her to have kind of a little waistband. So the first thing we're going to do is kind of put her together. So you can see how I cut just the upper portion of her body out. And I feel like you might be able to do this also with, well, I mean, I know you could, with Tim Holtz paper dolls. That's the one so yeah. You can decide. You can use whatever. You could use like your own grandkids or something like that if you have a good photograph. I do like the old ones just because I feel like it is more to the time period, and it looks good if you kind of keep your time periods all the same. And not that you have to, it doesn't matter, but that's just my take on it. Ink around her a bit. So how is everybody? I hope that you're all doing fantastic. I am doing well. You know, I forgot my Hugs and Blessings book, so I'll have to get that in just a minute. Let me just get started on this. And maybe when I stop to do the stitching part, I will grab that. I apologize. I take it downstairs so that I can, you know, while I'm reading comments and whatever. And then sometimes I forget it down there, which I did. So I could say hugs and blessings to all of you, because I really appreciate all of you that support me every day, say nice comments every day, watch my videos every day. I really appreciate that so much. I can't even tell you how much I appreciate it. So thank you for doing that. And welcome to new subscribers. I've gotten lots of new subscribers doing these Somerset Studio Magazine videos. So that's fun. So welcome to all of you. All right. So I just, as you saw, glued that little trim on there, and I'm just going to kind of cut it under like her arm and that. So I don't want to cut it where you can see the cut here. You want to kind of cut it underneath so it's hidden, you know. I think I cut the wrong side, or glued the wrong side, but it's too late now, so it's fine. Just a little tidier on the other side. So then you're going to want to think about this, because if you put it up too high, it's going to look weird. She's going to have that hole right there. So you want to put it so that, you know, the blue of the skirt is covering all the little holes in the lace. My word. And then I'm just going to put some glue, pretty good amount, because, you know, I want to make sure this all hopefully stays together. I put a little extra there that I didn't need, but that's okay. We can dab at it so that we don't have all that. Yeah, it took me quite a while to prep for this video, so I think that's part of my problem too with remembering the high-end hugs book downstairs. This was very time-consuming to get all. It's sort of like the paintbrush one was a little bit like that too. So yeah, but that's just how it is sometimes. Finding all the parts, right, is not always easy. And then I just have some little shoes. These are not her original shoes because the image was a little bit too dark. So I do quite often do art dolls, paper dolls, whatever you want to call them. So I have a whole folder full of feet and heads and all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to put those on there, put her almost to the bottom of those, because they are a little bit small, but when you cover up most of the legs, it seems to balance okay. And they're never going to be perfect. That's sort of the idea with art dolls. They aren't really meant to be, obviously, totally logical or whatever. Otherwise, you just go with the original photograph. If that's the look you're going for, I could have just gone with the original photograph, which would have worked as well. So if you don't feel like doing all this piecing and cutting and all that, then you can just find a cute photograph and use that. Oh, that pin thing is going to drive me nuts. And then I have the itty bitty little playing cards. I'm just going to ink them a tiny bit, and we're going to put those in her hands. And if you haven't watched my videos before or seen these, you can find them on Amazon, and there is a link in the description box below this video of all the things that I get on Amazon. So I'm kind of going to just put these in her hands. I'll worry about her feet in a minute. I promise. So because she was holding like a grouping of flowers, like part of her hand or her thumb is missing, so it looks a little strange like that. So if you put something in their hands, that helps with those kind of issues. and I couldn't totally figure out what it was that was in her hands. So, yeah, that's why I didn't just keep it there. I can't tell what's happening here exactly either, so I don't think that's right. It's gonna have to go on the side more. So yeah, it can be tricky to figure these out, but if you just play around with them, you can usually get it to look, you know, fine. There we go. I like to see that ace, and then I'll put glue under here too, because otherwise it'll never stay together. Oops. And I'll probably put a little underneath as well. So hopefully it'll all stay. That's the goal, right? And I ended up covering up most of her waistband, but it's okay. It's still there. You can kind of tell that something's there. The details are important. I know that a lot of times things get covered, but it really does make a difference in your work whenever you can add details. And I'm going to put one of these little lace bits in her hair and on her skirt, just to add some dimension. So this will go on here. I guess we can get her feet glued where I want them at least. And you can use Fabri-Tac to do a lot of this, would probably be good. Kind of need a good glue. That's going to hold it all. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the back of these. I'll probably end up running a stitch across this just so it stays. But this is just to tack it so that I can stitch it later. She'll go on there like that. And I am going to use my Elaine's Tacky Glue just to make sure everything sticks nicely. But again, Fabri-Tac is very good. Use what you like. This is sort of her ground, for lack of a better word for it. She needs to come this way just a bit. So I hope you're all well. I think I forgot to say that, or maybe I said it. I don't know. I've done a couple of videos today, so I'm sort of discombobulated. Obviously, as you can tell by forgetting stuff. Went and had lunch and answered comments, and then forgot my book. Okay, so she's quite cute. And then, oh yes, these are going to go across the bottom of her dress for some dimension, which is always a good thing to think about when you're making art dolls, paper dolls, because that's what gives you that sort of realism, even if it's very not real. Okay, and then I have a clock, I have a card, and I have a piece of fabric. So going to, I don't even know where this card or this clock came from. It was just on my desk after I brought a bunch of stuff out to figure this out. And so it was like, well, I guess that clock wants to be part of it. So there it is. and I just have the blue fabric, and I just thought this would be kind of cute up here. I know she didn't have anything like that in hers, and I am still going to do some stitching down the side, but I just wanted a little something up here, and I thought I would maybe staple it, but it's going to need just a touch of glue to hold it. I kind of want the fabric askew. And the King of Hearts, she's holding the Queen of Hearts. And I know, why do you need the staple? It's just, again, we're back to that, the details matter, so it's that kind of thing. Even though it's not actually important for it to be there. It goes like that. Did I end up sticking it? I did. Okay, well, I guess it's stuck then. Because fabric is porous, Amy. So I guess I'll put a little glue back here just to, well, you know, it could just, once it's stitched in, it's not going to go anywhere. I think I'm just going to let it be. Okay, I'm going to set that one aside and we'll start the next one. All right. So I'm going to start with a piece of this paper again. And then I have, and this will get definitely glued down. A piece of ledger. And this is 1956 vintage ledger. These are really fun to try to figure out, you know, how to make your own version, because obviously we're not all going to have the same stuff. You're not going to have the stuff I have. I don't have the stuff they have. But it's just really fun to try to see if you can come up with something similar, you know? Okay, now these other pieces, I think I'm going to try to turn into a pocket or a tuck, because we're using a couple of book pages. And this one is from Alice in Wonderland, but it's a copy. And it's from one of the old ones. I don't know if anybody on Etsy has it, and this is just old book page I have from, I think, a Reader's Digest or something, just as a background. So I think I'm going to turn these into a pocket. Yeesh, I don't know why I keep saying And then the off with her head, which she did. Here, I didn't have red letters, unfortunately, but that's a very cool little deal there. So I'm using this because that's as good as I've got. I had no red letters. So basically what you're doing is finding something to do the off and head, and then you write with her like that. So I'm going to glue these together because they're going to go like that. Now the trick is, sorry, I'm struggling with how to glue it together. It's always So it's interesting. You could probably make yet another tuck in there and do all that, but I'm just going to turn it into one sort of larger pocket. I'm not going to go all the way to the top because it doesn't go all the way to the top. Oops, I put glue there and I didn't need it there. Okay, so this is one piece that will get glued as a pocket right here. So in that case, we're just going to go along the edge. Like so. And I don't know what I'll tuck in there yet. That will come with time. Whenever I figure out where it's going. And then I have a playing card rather than that tag that she had in hers. And I got these on Amazon. They're Alice in Wonderland cards. And then this is just a regular playing card that I cut the center out of to make a frame. And I want to put, I sanded it a bit because it was really white. This one's more cream. I'm going to put a piece of this cicada wing paper over it. And that they call it cicada wing paper, but it's not made from cicada wings. It's just like a tissue paper, but it's even more thin and porous. It's a Japanese paper. I'm just going to put it over the top of that. Just to take away a bit of the white. It is best if you can let it dry, because then you can just kind of sand it off, but I'm just going to cut around it. It comes off pretty easy. Or easy to cut around because it's so thin. I thought about doing the same to the other one because it's so shiny, but I really want to be able to see the image really clearly. So I just decided to leave it the way it is. And then this will have to get cut out. I'm going to try to tear it this one. Again, if it's dry, it will be much easier. Not as scary, but it tears pretty easy. And then where's my little sander dewah? I don't mind a little bit of that fuzziness, but I don't want big chunks. Okay. So see, that just made it a little more vintage looking. I might turn it a little bit and turn this one this way a little bit. I don't want to cover anything in particular. Like, I want to make sure I see Queen of Hearts and at least one of these with the heart. So I think that will be good just like that. So I'm going to tack that down before I mess it up. Oh, I don't want to tilt it too much. I'll do the same on this side. And you could even make this into another little tuck spot if you wanted to. I don't think I'm going to do that, but you definitely could. So you can see I'm definitely not doing it just like she did because I just don't have the same items. They're not the same size. So just kind of doing my own thing. And then I think I'm going to add this little piece just because I want to. That's Tim Holtz stamp that I stamped on Book Page. Another thing that would be good is like a rose or something like that stamped on Book Page. Oh, I need to make sure I don't go over that too far or I won't be able to slide something in and out of the pocket. And then I'll put this down. Oh, I forgot I was going to put that trim on there too. Well, a lot of that might get covered now. Trying to decide if I want to, I think I'm just going to glue it down. Have this, so that's going to get covered. That was silly. I guess I should not have put that there. I could make it smaller. It's just some crocheted, you know, trim that I had. I thought the red was good. Yeah, I think that will work. And I'll do some stitching and I'll come back and show you once it's got some stitching done. All right, so there's that one, and there's a pocket here, so you can put, I don't know, a tag or whatever you like in there. So it's like its own little pocket page. All right, I'm gonna go do some stitching and I will be right back. Okay, I am back, and you can see I did machine stitching, but I left, like, you know, there's a gap here, there's a big mess of string there. Tied a knot up here, you know, kind of did my own thing with that because hand stitching, I'm not that great at that. But this one crazy stitched all the way around this part because I need to leave this open for the pocket. So the original, oh, that's what I need to do though. I do need to stitch around this card, but that will sew that pocket closed. So never mind, I won't be stitching around the card. See, it's all the things you got to think of. So if you're going to do that, stitch around the card first. Anyway, so this is the original by Renee Zarate. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm probably murdering it. But anyway, and that is what she did, and that is what I did. So I hope you guys give it a try in your own style or own way and just enjoy it. Those will be great to go in a journal. I obviously probably wouldn't put them right together, but you know, other papers will get stacked between them, however. And I think those would be super fun in an Alice in Wonderland journal. So I will talk to you guys soon. Have a fantastic weekend. Love ya. Bye-bye.